Okay. I don't know. I don't see anything with this thing working. Is stereo on?
You must tell Douglas also, Joe, about when you used to travel, and Pop used to travel. You used to meet at different places.
Put that there so we can record that. It's fine. Let's see how this looks. Just put it right there. That's fine. We're good. We're good.
In 1936,
36.
36,
Yeah.
I came to Rhodesia. And I shall never forget, I was standing on the railway station. There were hundreds of people there waiting for the Cape train to arrive. And I looked at the faces of everybody and I didn't recognize any. I had no family, I had no friends, I had no countrymen of mine. I was alone.
36.
But not lonely. Lonely, but not alone. Anyway, I took my bag, went to a hotel, and I was looking for a job. I had two things very important. One, I have implicit faith in the Almighty. And secondly, I remembered in Berkat Amazon, there is a saying, Na arhayithi wegamzakanti. Welo ra'iti صديقني عذاب وزرعوه ما بقيت لهم. And I knew my father was a good man. And I knew that I will maybe need money, but I shall never starve.
Yeah, dear.
I looked for a job. And a friend of mine, whom I met in the synagogue on a Friday night, he came up to me and he said, "Are you a stranger? I'm on holiday." I said, "No, I've come to live here." So he said, "Where are you staying?" So he looked at me, he thought I must be a very wealthy man. I was well dressed. And when I told him where I was staying, then my standard gone down. But never mind. He was very kind. He took me home on a Friday night and I had the first meal in a home for many, many months. And Jaime, his name was Jaime Coat. H.S. Coat.
You knew Gerald, did you?
You knew Jeremy
Coat.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
That's his father.
Yeah, little man.
And so he got me a job with the Crown of Clothing Company. They wanted a storekeeper in the country, so they decided to interview me. And then Mr. Aladef, who is one of the directors of the company, decided that I'm too intelligent.
In Salisbury or in
Salisbury. And he
Was
decided
that Morris's father? Morris?
No, relation.
Another additive.
They're
Okay.
all related.
They're all related, right?
And he thought that I was too intelligent to be a storekeeper, so he gave me a job as a traveller. And I was quite successful. Successful in one way and not in another. I couldn't get any orders from the town. I went to Gwela, I couldn't get an order. I went to Shabani, I went to Salisbury, I couldn't get an order. Why? Because the majority of the storekeepers were either Greek, Jews, or Indian. These are the storekeepers. And among them, they know more about the business than I do. So I couldn't sell them anything. And I had another handicap, and that is I didn't drink. So I couldn't take the people into the bar and take them for a drink and then give me orders. So as a result is I used to stay at the hotel. Your grandfather was representing CNA.
That's right.
And he too never went to the bar and he never drank. And he used to love talking. And I used to love listening to him because he spoke a beautiful English.
Right.
And I'm learning the language.
Where did you come from?
I came originally from Iraq.
Back there.
That's another story.
But you didn't come from Iraq to Rhodesia.
I came from Iraq to Palestine, from Palestine to Manchester, Manchester to Cape Town, Cape Town to Rhodesia.
Okay.
So we come into a place like Fort Victoria or Gwela. It's dead. What are we to do other than to talk? So your grandfather and I, we used to be great pals. We in fact reached the stage when we used to arrange our trips together so that we'd be together all the way. And we spent the nights and the evening and Sunday was the worst day of the week because we sit alone in a Gwela. It's just like a cemetery without the graves. And we
Help
used to
yourself,
talk.
darling, while you're
thanks.
talking.
Yeah.
Come on.
And we used to talk and talk about. And then he introduced me to spiritualism. And he introduced me to the Kabbalah and to the Zohar. And I knew about it, but I never knew what it is. And to cut it even more, he even bought the books for me.
The Zohar?
He bought the books
They're
for
expensive.
me. And our association grew.
Do you want sugar, Douglas?
No, I think so.
And time came when we spent more time together than we spent outside. And I learned a lot from him. And furthermore, I learned to love him. And we became very good friends. Then your father, and then I became a Mason. And the father, very ardent. My grandfather, very ardent spiritualist and a very famous Mason.
What came
He-
first?
Sorry?
What came first? His study of the Kabbalah or Masonry for him? Which came first? The Kabbalah first.
The first, no. The first was the Zohar,
The Zohar.
and then the Kabbalah. And he truly knew his stuff very well.
Yeah.
So, our friendship became stronger and stronger. The war broke out, and I was called up. You probably asked the question, why was I called up? I wasn't even a British subject. Where I stayed at the hotel when I first arrived, it was the cheapest hotel in Salisbury.
Which hotel was it?
And the Causeway Hotel in Which street?
Causeway Street.
Anyway, Causeway. So, and being the cheapest hotel, so who lives there? The carpenters, the bricklayer, the electrician, all the workmen.
Right.
1938, when Munich started, in the drill hole they decided to call up for volunteers. So all the boys went, so I went with them. I came to the recruiting officer. I said, "What's your name?" I said, "Salem." "What's your first name?" "Joseph." "Where do you live?" "Causeway Hotel." "Thank you." That's all. So 1939, when the war broke out, they were called up and I was called up. And I went to the army. Nobody asked me, "What's your nationality? Where were you born? What is your religion?" Nothing. We were only a few weeks in the camp when they sent us to Nairobi by buses, which took us 3 weeks to get from Salisbury to Nairobi.
Sure.
It was hell of a journey. So anyway, so we come back to Pop, as we affectionately used to call him. So our communication remained. Although I was in the army, we were always in communication with one another. When the war finished, Uncle Henry was going back to Lando Brothers. He was working with them before the war. Your father still in Port Elizabeth, East London.
Port Elizabeth.
Port
Yeah, Port
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Yeah. East London was my
With-
uncle Mike, his cousin Henry, the other Henry.
And still,
And he was with Rex Trueform in
Yeah.
Port
That's
Elizabeth.
right.
no,
Come help
Rex
us.
Trueform, his grandfather was not.
Well, my dad is Rex Trueform.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ronnie
Yeah.
was, before he came up.
Right.
that's not true. It's later on.
He used to work for. I missed it. The guys that sold the sunglasses. I don't remember the name of it.
I started a business in Rhodesia, carpet and furnishes. But before I could get the carpet, I had to make a living. So I bought all sorts of things. And a friend of mine in Bulawayo, he gave me a sub-agency of drugs and toilet. And I was making a living out of it. Then suddenly the carpenters start coming, and I haven't got time now for this. Uncle Henry couldn't carry on with Uncle Lando, and he was unhappy. I said, "Henry, come join me in the business. Whatever we make together, let's make it." Dad didn't arrive yet, still in Port Elizabeth. Then Henry was with me for about a year or so. Then when I got the carpets, I didn't have time anymore for drugs and toilet. So I said, "Henry," and Henry knew that Dad is coming from, and he wanted to establish, and grandfather was anxious for them to be together and be in business, and he will help them financially. So I said, "Henry, look, I don't need an agency of drugs and toilet. It gives us enough living. You take it." And I gave it the agency to Henry and Ronnie took over, and they made a tremendous success with it, much more than I did, because I didn't have the time. And that's how my association with
No,
mountains.
this was in Salisbury.
And so that's all in Salisbury.
But they had an office in Bulawayo.
The one.
They had an office.
Oh, that's much later.
Much later?
Much
Oh,
later.
I thought the Bulawayo office was before.
No,
Obviously
much
not.
later.
No, it was after.
Because they were born in Bulawayo.
Yeah.
So was I.
You also born in Bulawayo? Oh, really? So they moved to Henry, Uncle Henry and my grandfather were in Salisbury.
Correct.
But so they'd moved at some time from Bulawayo to Salisbury.
Well, Henry arrived first when he got married. didn't he?
Henry, when he arrived
It's after the war.
at the end of the war, your grandfather, I knew Henry by sight before. I'm talking immediately after the war. I knew him before the war, just by sight. Then when he came back after the war, bringing Sue with him as married, your grandfather was in Gwanda, and he couldn't meet them on the train. And he came to me, he said, "Joe, do me a favor. Henry and his wife are arriving. I can't be there on such and such day. I've got to be in Gwanda. Would you go to the train and meet them?" And I was the first person in Rhodesia to greet Henry and Sue. And from that, our relationship established. And then I took him in business with me, and then eventually they started on their own. That's my association with Henry.
See, you just told me
And,
something I
also,
I didn't
I
realise that you actually helped them start their business.
Henry.
Henry,
It
yeah.
was Henry then.
Well, it was.
But then your dad came
But
up
what
and
was
joined.
it? What was it called?
Oh, gosh.
Joseph? Was it just Joseph Cowan Agencies?
No.
What did
Cowan
Joseph?
agencies. Cowan,
Cowan Brothers agent.
no, Cowan agencies.
No, it became Henry and Ronald Cowan Agencies.
Yeah.
But before that, what was it? What was it? They had? It was Joseph Cowan and Sons or something.
No, I don't
I
know.
don't
Joseph
remember.
Cowan never came into it because
No.
he was always working still for Rex Trofon, Dad. Yeah,
No, my grandfather worked for Rick Stripper.
Sure.
When was that,
Sure.
Joe?
He worked for CNA,
CNA, right.
and then when he gave up CNA, he went to Rex Trofon.
Grandpa went to Rick Stripper?
Rex Trofon. And then that way Dad
That's how he got into Rick Stripper.
associated with Rex Trofon.
I see. So that's because he had his office. He was Rick Stripper rep for the Eastern Province.
Yeah.
And he had the office, the Eastern Province office. Dad ran that office. Bernard Shub, I think, was, if I remember the name right, Bernard Shub was the head of Rick Strufel, the owner of Rick Strufel's in Port Elizabeth.
Before the war, in 1939, a grandfather took Henry and Ronnie. Both were initiated in lodge in Johannesburg. Hillbrow. Hillbrow Lodge.
Right.
And because all Jewish people were there, and he was initiated there. They got their first and second degree. And then both Dad and Ronnie came to Rhodesia. And a grandfather was very anxious that he should give them the third degree before they go on active service.
Right.
And that's
Ronnie
what
and Henry.
gave Henry and Ronnie their third degree in Salisbury, in Rhodesia Lodge, where grandfather was a member.
Right. Interesting. You know, I've got a pair of candlesticks that were given to my mother from Lodge Milton Park. I have them in my living room.
Yeah.
There's ladies' night, what do they call it? Ladies' night.
Yeah.
I remember when you were initiated there.
No, not me. Joe was.
Joe.
I was. Dad initiated me to Freemasonry here in Netanya, in the gardens of Netanya.
Oh, really?
This is one of the things that he always wanted to do, and when he came here, that's what we did. So
Now, have you kept it up in any shape or
in
form?
the United States, no, I haven't really found
A home?
no.
A lodge?
Well, I don't like some of the people flaunt. You know what we learned about masonry. It's something that you did. It was quiet. It was not. They put stickers on their cars and
In America.
the
Yeah.
Masonic emblem
Oh,
and,
yes,
and,
big
and
that.
big rings and I wonder, well, Masons don't recognize
Masonry-
others like that. That's not really what it is.
I mean, it's Americanized.
But they do a tremendous good work
Who does?
in charity.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Fantastic. They spend, Douglas, they spend over $1 million a day
A day.
on charity.
Wow.
A day.
Yeah.
And you go there.
That's amazing.
you
No,
go-
I may, continue to do that at some time. I just, not that I'm getting any younger, but it's just. I don't know. If it's right, it's going to happen. I just. Joel got very disillusioned with Freemasonry in South Africa.
Yes.
He
In
was.
South
I don't-
Africa?
Yes,
Who?
Joel
Joe.
was disillusioned with it. He said it was in Cape Town. He went to what he thought was this terrific lodge, and he said the whole environment, everything around there was all talked about money and business, and
Would
it was.
depend what lodge was it?
I don't remember. He can tell me. He told me this the other day. How he just he went, he looked for it. One was going to be the finest, most reputable lodge in the city, and he was totally disappointed and felt very uncomfortable in that place. So it's very different from what he had been initiated into doing, what he had grown up with. So
Yeah.
I think that they vary. It just varies. Anyhow, but that's.
No, I must confess, I enjoyed my masonry.
Dad was.
66 years.
Dad was. I mean, I could see it. Yeah, he'd study for his portions that he'd have to read, and he would study. My father and
To
I'd
recite.
say recite,
not to
and
read.
he'd read and learn
Yes.
it and he'd recite it, and he'd be pacing up and down in the house and going over it. And he was a very good speaker.
When when we left Rhodesia, first of all, I must, without being boastful about it, I was the provincial Grand Master of Rhodesia for 15 years, and also the first Grand Principal of the Royal Arch for 10 years. So before we left, I said to Leonora, when I come to Israel, I have nothing to do with masonry. I will go and visit them, but I would not take an active part.
Good.
Okay. And she agreed, and I agreed, and we made that. Came to Tel Aviv one day, and I meet my friends. Because first of all, I must tell you that I did a lot for Israel. I was there when it was consecrated in 1953. I was there in 1957 when we established the Royal Arch. I came here in 1969 when we consecrated the Supreme Grand Chapter. So I did a lot for Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew a lot of people. So when we came in here, I meet my friend Yehuda Trevish. I don't know whether you've heard of him. He was a judge and a lovely man, a really a saintly man. And he said, Joe, welcome, are you on holiday? I said, no, we have come to live in Israel. Ah, Baruch haba. Tell me, Joe, are you coming to join us? I said, Yehuda, I want to tell you something. When we came to Israel, I made a promise to my wife that I'm not going to take any active part. I will be there. I will watch the meeting, but I never take any interest. So he looked at me in the face. He said, it's a great pity, Joe. For 40 years, you have given your service to the Yaks. Don't you think it's time you give something to your Jewish people? And do you know that went just like a dagger into my heart. So I took, what do you want me to do? I took a secretariatship of the Supreme Council of 33rd. That's the highest degree in Freemasonry. And I was 8 years as a secretary and 6 years as colonel commander. So I finished 66 years of active Freemasonry. And I'll show you something.
That's pretty amazing.
Bring that plaque that Pop gave us. That plaque from Rhodesia. That, not Pop. Ronnie gave us. Ronnie Cowan gave us.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. This is really exciting for me. I didn't know, because when they started the business, you see, I was 4 years old. He's talking about when I was 4. You're talking about 1949, 48 maybe, because Dad.
Yes, it was.
But Dad went to help.
49, yeah.
Dad left Rick's True Farm in Port Elizabeth, sold a house. I know we'd lived in 2 houses. One on Dyson Street, where I was born, and then we moved to College Drive, which is right across the road from Gray's Boys School. And Joe was born there. I think I was born on Dyson Street. He was born on College Street. And then we left for Rhodesia to build a home for Grandpa. That was the whole idea, going to business with my uncle, with Uncle Henry, and then to build a home for Grandpa. And I think that's where...
This is what Dad gave me.
yeah.
He gave them to a lot of us, actually.
I think I have one somewhere. Doesn't have a stand or anything. I got that.
Yeah, it's probably...
Yeah, I think, well, it's cool, because you're not going to see this anymore.
No? You got one?
Yeah, I think somewhere I thought I had something like that.
City of Salisbury.
Do that. Masonic Memoirs. So they've got a Scottish institution as well. So,
Does Pop feature in that, Joe? I can't remember now. Have you got a photo with him in it? I don't think so. I don't remember. Yeah.
Conradi.
Hettie Conradi was the Grand Master of South Africa.
Do you want some fruit, darling?
No.
Joe Salem decided it was far better to light one candle than curse the darkness. It's a continuation of George V.
What's that?
Yeah.
George V said, going to the darkness. Joe says, light one candle.
Yeah.
And read my dedication here.
I think I was to your wife, of course. Right.
That's the other one.
So, this is in Johannesburg. Okay, I see.
Look at some of the pictures. I was still in the army.
Irving Masovsky,
Yeah.
Sam.
And the
Alpha.
organizer. You must know
Course.
quite a lot of them.
Hassan,
Morris.
Kapoya,
Mm.
Lips.
That's,
There's a Salem guy here. Lots of Jewish guys.
yeah.
It's nice, Lodgero, and it's written in Hebrew. It's nice. This should be very interesting reading. There's Joseph Cowan, Henry Cowan.
Was there? Mm.
Very yes.
Yeah. And you got one of Ronnie there, Joe. They must have Ronnie and some of them, surely.
You see that my grandfather's picture looks just like this same. It's probably about that age.
Pop was how much older than you, Joe?
Who?
Pop Cowan. Yeah, that's what I say. How old was he?
He died at the age of 80, I think.
Right, he was 80.
80.
He was 80. So long again, excuse me.
No, Kim.
Hello? Yeah? מחר. כן, יש לי ארוחת בוקר, פגישה ב8. שיבתי רק. אני אצלך מחר. אני יכול מתי שאתה רוצה מחר בערב. אני צריך לראות אותך, אני לא באתי סתם, אני לא דיברתי פה סתם. אתה מצא... מתי שאתה יכול, אני אסתדר. ביי גיל, ביי. That was Gilad Harish. Do you remember the judge, Shofet Harish?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was the personal Begin, he was his legal counsel, I think. That's his son, Gilly. Gilly and I went to the Israeli Air Force together at the same time, and he got kicked out because he had something with the vision. His eye didn't pass the medical. His brother, Dror, was a pilot in the Israeli Air Force, and became a very well-known lawyer and then also a pilot in El Al. Gilly, we've been friends together. He went to the paratroopers, then to intelligence. And he wants to see me. So he wants to do tomorrow morning. I said, too late, it's booked, I've got a breakfast meeting. He said, damn, shit. I said, what about lunch? What about dinner? I have to see you. So I said, okay. So I said, well, yeah, just call me. I've got 2 more days left in Israel, and anybody, the times are getting booked, so you just fill the slots. That's
So it's kind of
Nice to be wanted, isn't it, darling?
these. I've got good friends, and I don't see them. Yeah, Joseph Cowan, 28th of October, the day after my birthday, 1961.
What day?
Paul Bierman. I know, yeah.
When's your birthday?
27th of October.
27th.
And this is on the 28th. I travelled to the Saga accompanied by Mr. Oliver, Joseph Cowan, Paul Beeman. See, I knew Paul. See, I'm just finding people. This is terrific. It's a wonderful book.
to commemorate the memory of those who helped me.
Wonderful. Rosen. See, lots of these
But
people.
if you, towards the end of the book, you receive a lot of Israeli.
Douglas, did you know,
Yeah.
what's his first name? Pima? What's his-
Izzy.
Hmm?
Izzy Pima? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also your age group.
Yeah, he's also 60. They're all 60.
He told me a horror story.
Did you seen him here?
When Marcy and Jaime were here,
Uh-huh.
and they came to see them, and he and his wife came out. And he's from where? Port Elizabeth.
Who, is he? No, he's from Salisbury. Is he Pima?
Yes.
I'm from
Correct.
The son of Maya Pima.
Yeah.
Maya, that's right.
Yes, no, we were talking about his relations in Bulawayo,
Uh-huh.
and I went to school with Golda Pima from
Uh-huh.
Bulawayo,
Uh-huh.
and she married a Port Elizabeth boy, or was it East London? Archie. Oh, God. How can I forget the name? Gone right out of my head. It'll come back. And it was a great love affair. They got married in Bulawayo. I was at the wedding, at school together. And she went back to Port Elizabeth to live there because he was working. Anyway, they then went to, after that, we all went different ways, we lost touch. But talking to the Pimas,
Sorry.
we were talking about Golda, of course, because of our friendship. And he told me a horror story, a terrible story, that she and the husband both committed suicide together. They went to live in America.
Hmm.
And they left two girls, grown-up girls, but not married.
Hmm.
Oh, God, what's his name? I thought you might know the name if you didn't know the family.
No, I know Izzy. That's the only
No, from Port Elizabeth.
Port Elizabeth. In America, the cruises.
Terrible. Come back to me.
No, it's bad.
And then, you know, his relations, the Pimas and all.
Yeah, it's.
I know when Jaime comes here, he also does the run around to everybody, and then he's got his family, of course.
Right.
To
No,
visit
I've got.
as well.
Here's your grandpa.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's the picture I saw. Yeah, and Uncle Henry next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like an RAF pilot there, Uncle Henry.
He was a very good pilot.
Yeah, he's an instructor.
He also got some decoration, didn't he, Henry?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was decorated.
But he
In the war.
didn't fly combat. He was an instructor.
In the war.
He
was,
teach. During the war, he trained other pilots.
Yeah.
So what did he get his medal for?
He did eventually did
He must have done
over
it.
Europe.
For Europe, Europe. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But I know most of the time he was training people to fly. That's pretty important. It's,
I'm so sad to hear that he passed away, and we didn't know that.
But when I get home, do you have an email address? An email? Do you have email address?
No.
Yeah,
We'll give you our daughter's.
You do it.
Tell
Yeah,
her.
well, give
Or
it.
Michael, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Tell her, I think it's better.
yeah, give me her address, and I'll send you the email I got from Peter.
What's happened to those, Peter and the girls?
They're still in South Africa, and I mean they're all
Still
married.
married.
They're all married, non-Jewish
Okay,
people.
yes,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
How could they do otherwise? I mean, Henry and Sue.
They didn't.
The
They
only
didn't
time-
encourage. I think, what amazed me most was Henry and Sue came to Israel. I know they came for the reasons they came for. That's another story.
And they left with plenty to live with.
Yes, they didn't. Well, unfortunately, that was the unfortunate part of my uncle, was that side of him.
Yeah.
And I liked him, but he did my dad badly.
I remember all that episode so well.
And it was just so sad. Joel used to work for my dad and for Uncle Henry, for the agencies. It took him for a while. He went to work, and Uncle Henry wouldn't pay him a salary. And he'd only... No, he wouldn't pay, I mean, it's ridiculous. They'd say he would only pay him commission. So Joel went out and was a very, very good salesman. And he made a lot of money on commission. So he didn't want to pay him his commission. So he left him. Sometimes you think some of the really stupid kind of things. Never let my dad touch the books.
Dear Henry,
And,
the only time Peter went to school was when Joe took him.
Yeah. And then Dad helped. When Dad went to Israel, he helped Henry bring money, which was, some of it was his, and he took it all. Dad almost disowned him.
This is
Great. Okay, I can keep that?
my daughter, yeah.
Okay, good.
That's Toba.
Yeah. I remember it.
Do you?
Little girl, I remember. And so, Mom and Dad almost literally disowned Uncle Henry for a long time. They made up in Israel. When Dad had gone through what he went through, when Henry came back, Joel tells me, I wasn't there, but Dad was going through a bit of a memory loss kind of thing. It wasn't Alzheimer's, but it was, I guess. And he saw, I think it was after Mom died, he went through a very traumatic time. And when Henry came and he says, Joel says, he said, who's this? He says, that's your brother, Henry. He says, I don't have a brother. He says, when did I have a brother? This is, you've been doing business with him. He says, who's he? I've never seen him before. It was that period. There was, like Menashe. Menashe is...
Isaac.
Not Isaac Menashe. Here in Israel, Tammy's brother, his name is Menashe Ben Chaim. Menashe was very good to my dad and helped, and when he went to visit him when he was in South Africa and so on. So she says, I've seen that man somewhere before. Dad he had a period where he had like, kind of almost like an amnesia, or almost like
But when this has happened, I don't remember at all.
No, you wouldn't remember it. It was for a while. And
it must be towards the very end.
Towards
Because
the end,
he used to come in here
Yes.
with milk and have a cup of tea with us and then drive home.
Yeah, I don't remember this. Joel tells me this story. He used to story about Dad, about what. And I think it was after his heart attack maybe, or something, sometime. I'm not sure exactly when it was. But, it's been...
Henry came here and stayed with us.
Right.
Here. And I said, Henry, look, it's time you do something about it. And then we arranged, and he and Ronnie shook hands and everything.
Yeah, they came back together. Well, you can't. You don't want to leave this earth with a family forever. It's not worth it. It's just nothing.
Yes, but it's sad to see brothers.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he did bad to my dad, so
With due respect, Henry was very materialistic. Although
Extremely.
he always said that money means nothing to him, but it meant everything to him.
Oh, I know. Even in the business, what he did to my father was called for, was wrong, and it doesn't matter, Zichronon Levracha, they're all
Yeah.
They're all gone, and you know, you come into this earth with nothing, you leave with nothing,
That's the
and
whole
all that's left behind is the memories of what you did.
What you
for other
didn't do.
people, what you didn't.
I wrote to a friend of mine and I said, death is a subject which admits of no levity when is spoken by mortal man. The young may die, the old must die, and the wisest of us know not how soon it is.
Let's have a cup of coffee.
Okay,
Cup
coffee.
of coffee?
Fine. Yes, coffee would be terrific. Thank
Yeah.
you. I don't want to keep you up too late, so you
Don't
can
be
My
silly,
dear,
it's so nice
I
to
am
have
so grateful to you for having
Can I just
found the
take
time.
you?
No, I
What do you need to
was.
finish those little bits?
I'll take one of these. That's
You
it.
know
I'm
what?
done here.
Leave that there. And
Okay, would you like one?
I'll share with
Enjoy
you one.
yourself.
You can
I'm going to make some coffee.
No,
Excuse me.
this has been an extreme privilege for me.
You must come more often.
So everybody tells me, I will.
You
It'll be a better year for me. It's a long way, and it's and I don't see in the very near future me changing. But I'm growing now. At this age, I'm still growing. So that. But I'm just the story of Grandpa, and he was a trader in the beginning of the 20th century, and he met my grandmother in the Belgian Congo.
That's right.
Do you know what she was doing there? What was she doing there?
Her parents were the pioneers in the Congo.
Pioneers in the Congo.
Pioneers in the Congo.
But the Belgian Congo, what were English people doing in the Congo?
Mostly commercial.
Commercial. So he was
Also some of them were in the hide business.
right in the height. But what was my grandfather doing in the Congo?
Your grandfather wasn't much longer in the Congo, came to Rhodesia. I don't know really. I can't. I'm only
I'm just
summarizing this. But when I met him, it was in 1937.
Right.
That's the first time I met him.
Right. Okay. So
He was then working for CNA and traveling throughout the country, up and down.
and CNA was that what was he selling? What was he selling? Just insurance. Central News Agency.
Central News Agency.
Yeah, so what is he selling? Books and magazines.
Books, periodical,
Right.
and then of course later expanded to toys and all sorts of things.
Right. I remember then they had. So he didn't really have an agency. He was like a
No, he traveled for them.
He travelled for them. So he
traveled
sold.
for them from place to place. And right through southern Rhodesia and northern Rhodesia, and we used to travel together.
See, because Dad did that too, and he also travelled in South Africa also.
Before he came to Rhodesia.
Before he came back to Rhodesia. You see, before the Second World War, they were travelling in South Africa.
They came to Rhodesia.
Before that.
1928, 29, in 30s.
The 30s.
Because I met him in 38.
Right, but that's when he came back. They were there before. My father was born in Bulawayo.
Yeah.
They lived there. Then they left, and they lived for a period in England.
They went to England.
And my father, part of his schooling was in Uitenhage at Marriott Brothers. So he went to Marriott Brothers in Uitenhage as in elementary school. He didn't finish high school, my father, because he was always travelling. My grandfather, he spent some of his years in London.
Yeah.
And his early manhood was spent in London before he went back to South Africa to join the army. and he used to work for a company that sold bicycles. It was an aircraft manufacturing company.
He was very friendly with the Hatchwell.
Hatchwells.
Yeah.
But that was back in Rhodesia. So I'm talking about London. I'm talking about London. Because he learned...
And in London too.
Right. You see, Dad was about 17 years old when he learnt about hypnosis in London from a Russian professor. I remember the name. It was Professor Igor. I wasn't born yet, but I know what the guy's name was. And so he used his hypnotherapy in North Africa for when there was no morphine to give to people or no anesthesia. He would help them make like amputees doing operations under hypnosis.
That
So
is very good at it.
So he did a lot of his early work in hypnosis. Medical work was done in the military during the Second World War.
And he was recognized by the government.
In Rhodesia, yeah, he was actually a member of the Rhodesian Medical Board, Medical Association, but he had to get reappointed every single year, only for 1 year at a time. And he worked with the medical profession directly, treating patients that conventional medicine didn't treat. And I have lots of letters of people who he treated. All his letters that were written to him, big backlog, I have them all. Which I will try and publish one day in the book. Because they are amazing stories of somebody...
If you should ever meet anybody who is interested in spiritualism, let them have a look at that, at those paintings.
I have most of them, the originals, the drawings. I have a whole album of them at home. And
this is very, very valuable.
Well, what kind of value would you put to them?
Well, for the person who needs them, they can pay thousands.
People don't even know they exist. These are drawings that
they do, but probably you don't know them.
I'm not selling them, but
you know, you should really investigate, spend a little time on it, and investigate people who are interested in this.
Well, I'd like Spielberg to do the movie on.
Sorry?
I'd like Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
To do the movie about this. Yeah, you gave me tonight more information that I didn't know.
Anything you want, I mean, we only scratched the surface.
I know.
There are certain, as you talk, you remember.
Sure. I wondered. My grandfather used to travel a lot on the boats.
Sorry?
He used to travel on the ships.
Well, because
the
there was no the means.
But he used to go to London, Cape Town to London, backwards and forwards, a lot.
Yes, but there was no mean by any.
One of the things I always wondered was how my grandfather made a living. Was it always from trading for sales, or did he do anything else?
First of all, once his wife died, he was a lost soul.
She died in England, right?
Hmm?
She died in England.
In England. And he was a lost soul. Then he found refuge in these books, in the studies, and he got very involved. And he became really an authority on it. I mean, I used to talk to him nice, I'll never forget. In Guello, there was a hotel, the Midland Hotel. And the Midland Hotel had a veranda on the top. And we used to sit on Sunday, have lunch, and sit there. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the boys used to come to sweep. Boss, you're still here? And we're still talking. So you can imagine.
I know this hotel. I've been there, the Midland Hotel. I've seen it before.
Fantastic.
I don't know if I ate breakfast downstairs.
He was a great man.
But he was... why would he have been given the freedom of the City of London? Do you know why he got that? You know, there's a certificate My grandfather is a freeman of the City of London.
Yes, he got that.
And why did they give that to him? Anybody know? What did he do?
Yes, we did know.
Yes, I did.
Must have been a reason for that.
Oh, come on, Joe. I must ask Beryl. You've got a distant relation with whom I'm very friendly.
You should know Beryl, don't you? Beryl Lieberman.
Where does she live?
In
Mechmoret. Yeah, I think I went to visit. Uncle Henry used to go out there, didn't he?
Yes, Henry did, and Dad met her too.
And then I think I've met her.
She's a very outspoken person. She calls a spade a shovel. Leave it there. On no uncertain terms.
I think Uncle Henry went and stayed there for a while.
Oh, yes.
He stayed everywhere for a while.
Now, she's related, your grandmother, Pop's wife.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's related to my grandmother?
Yes, on that side of the family. Do you take milk?
Just a little. Very little.
You can help yourself, I'll give you. If that's too strong, just say.
Thank you.
If you want more water or coffee, help yourself.
Thank you.
Yourself.
Thank you, Daddy.
I guess you take it straight, strong, right?
Joe does.
Take it straight.
Do you want more water than that? I was going to say Roddy.
It's all right.
Douglas.
There we go. Thank
Oops.
you. That's good. Thanks.
Is that too strong for you?
No, this is perfect.
Sure.
I like strong coffee. Yeah. This is terrific stuff. You know, when Grandpa died, he didn't want his grave to be marked at all.
Really?
He went.
He didn't want his grave to be marked at all. I know that somewhere in Salisbury there's a little stone. We also didn't want all flowers would be given to a charity. All the Masons were